Hello, my name is Richard, but everybody calls me Rick. About 3 years ago, I was driving with my girlfriend Suzanne. We were both going to college across the state, so it was a long drive. We had packed up that morning. Tons of water, tons of Coke, and sandwiches. It was going to be a 2-day trip. We planned to stay at a motel for the nights we had to sleep. However, halfway into the journey, the car broke down on the highway. Well, damn, I said. Is this going to throw us off track? A couple of hours later, I said to Suzanne, "Look back. There's a small town. Maybe we should walk that way. It says only half a mile." Not knowing what else to do, I shook my head in agreement, and we both headed to the small town. We walked on the road for about 10 minutes or so before finally reaching the town of Pamperedville. What an odd name for a town, I thought to myself. The first thing we needed to do was find a hotel, and I really had to pee. Then Suzanne looked at me and said, "I found it." Great, I thought to myself. I can use the restroom. Suzanne and I walked in, and I handed the clerk my card. I said, "2 for the night, but I really need to know where the restroom is." The clerk, a kindly old woman, then got a confused look on her face and said, "What is a west room?" Perplexed, I replied, "I have to pee." She looked confused. "You don't need to tell me, honey," she said. "Just pee." I was so confused. "Yes, but I need a bathroom," I insisted. "A bathroom? What's that?" she asked. "I need a toilet," I said. "Oh, I remember those things. I remember when I was little, my parents used to talk about them. They said they had them in the city." Even more confused, I said, "We have toilets everywhere, but I really need to go." Assuming there would be a bathroom in the room, I just paid her and went up to my bedroom. That's when Suzanne and I realized there was no toilet in the room, and I still had to pee really badly. I was going to confront the clerk, but then I realized I had to pee. I went outside as fast as I could and started peeing behind the dumpster. Before I knew it, a police car came up and the sheriff walked out. "What are you doing there? You forgot your diaper," he said. "What the hell?" I exclaimed as I finished. "I'm going to have to take you downtown. I'm going to have to write you a ticket," he said. I was unsure why the sheriff would bring me down just to give me a ticket, so I got in the back of the sheriff's car. I was a bit nervous, I have to say. I did see Rambo, and I was wondering why he was bringing me down just for a ticket. Couldn't he just write me a ticket there? But finally, we got down to the sheriff's department, and I sat at his desk. He said the most peculiar thing. "I'm going to have to write you up for urinating in public." "What?" I said. "Is this a joke?" Thinking his statement might have been a joke, but with a stern look on his face, the man told me, "This ain't no joke, buddy." Then he changed his mind. "Actually, I'll give you a pack. You and the missus are new to this town then." Believing I had seen the last of it, the sheriff walked out with a giant pack of adult diapers and handed it to me, saying he had changed his mind about the ticket. I didn't know the law here. What the hell? I thought to myself. I grabbed the pack. Then the sheriff said, "Let me give you a ride back to the motel." Thinking to myself, what is this weird town I'm in? What have I gotten myself into? I agreed. On the ride back, the sheriff let me sit in his passenger seat and talked the whole way back. "We don't get a lot of out-of-towners, so they don't know our laws or practices here," he mused. Or at least I think that's what he said. I was unsure what he was saying. I might have had an out-of-body experience. Was this real? Was it really a town where nobody had any toilets and everybody used diapers? The sheriff talked the whole way back, but I couldn't understand a word he said. All I did was shake my head in agreement. We finally got back to the motel. The sheriff dropped me off and, looking at me, said, "Don't forget to put your diapers on." Then I walked into the room. My girlfriend looked at me. I was flabbergasted and shocked. I opened the door and yelled, "This town is for freaks. We've got to get out of here. You won't believe what the sheriff told me." Then Suzanne looked back at me and said, "Yes, I will." Then at the same time we both yelled, "This whole damn town wears diapers." And I looked at Suzanne. "How did you know?" Suzanne said, "Well, I didn't know what happened to you, so I was looking for a bathroom, you know." "They haven't said that a bathroom what?" I said. "I'm in no mood," she replied. I have a giant change in the room. Let me show you. She walked over to the door in the room, opened it, and it was a giant changing table. And there were two diaper pairs, but very big ones. One said for number 1, and the other one said for number 2. Then there were tons of diapers of all sizes, real big ones, real small ones. What the hell did I get myself into? I thought to myself. Then I thought, I must be dreaming. This has to be a dream. I love Suzanne. We're dreaming, Suzanne. Then Suzanne punched my arm. Does that feel like a dream? Then I sat down. I don't know what to do. I guess we're just going to have to get the car fixed tomorrow, and we have to get the hell out of here. Then Suzanne looked at me. But we're probably going to have to use the bathroom and tell them. What do we do? I sat down and thought for a second. Yes, what are we going to do? I sat down for a second. I looked at Suzanne and said, I guess we're going to have to wear the diapers. Suzanne said, no way in hell. Then I looked at Suzanne. We have to, Suzanne said. How do we even put the damn things on? And I said, I'll put yours on and you'll put mine on me. Do you understand that? Suzanne shook her head in agreement. We went into the room for about 20 minutes, and we both walked out wearing only shirts and diapers. Suzanne said, I feel ridiculous. This whole thing's ridiculous. I looked at Suzanne and said, I don't like it either, but we have no bathrooms and we don't want to get arrested. This is the only solution. Suzanne said, but what do I have to do if I need to go number 2? Then I guessed, you have to take a shower after. I don't know. We're going to have to deal with this till we can get out of town. The next day, Suzanne and I woke up, grateful we had only used our diapers for number 1. I turned to Suzanne, hoping it had all been a dream. Damn, I thought it was a dream, I said, trying to convince myself. Suzanne replied, if I have to punch you in the arm again, I'm not going to be very happy. I sighed. I guess I have to go to the garage to see if I can fix the car. Damn, I'm wet again. When there are no toilets around, you don't even notice the most unconscious things. I barely even felt like I had to go. We need to get out of here. Suzanne looked at me and said sarcastically, fine, get in the room. I'll change you. Clearly annoyed by the whole situation. We went into the room, and she helped me change out of my wet diaper. Afterward, she said, I'm not going to keep on doing this. We need to come up with a solution to this problem. See if the car is fixed now. I nodded. You couldn't wait, I muttered as I walked out the door, heading to the garage, still wearing a diaper. It felt strange, like I had a slight waddle as I walked. As I walked to the garage, I noticed things I hadn't before. There were public changing stations, like public restrooms, but for changing diapers. Curious, I went in to see what the fuss was about. Inside was a woman, about 50, who asked, Do you need some assistance? No, I was just checking it out, I said before leaving. Well, this town is like nothing I've ever seen before, I thought to myself. Then I noticed something else. I didn't see any regular cars. There were only small, one-person vehicles, like the toy cars you charge with batteries. This wasn't good news if I needed to get my car fixed. As I continued to look around, I saw no apartment buildings, just houses that looked like giant playhouses. Another thing I noticed was the long speakers everywhere in town. After a bit of walking, I eventually got to the garage. I walked in and talked to the mechanic, asking if my car was fixed. No, the mechanic replied. I just ordered the part you need. It will be here in a week. There was no way in heck I was going to stay here that long. I was about to yell when I heard a loud siren. Everyone in the town began to walk in one direction. Even the mechanic left his desk and started walking with the crowd. Not knowing what else to do, I decided to follow and see where they were going. They walked to a giant building that looked more like a hall, very square with 2 other squares attached. Everyone in the town was walking inside. I noticed a woman about 50 to 60 years old in the center of a large room, which looked like a town hall meeting room, but instead of chairs, it had beanbag chairs and floppy chairs that looked like stuffed animals. Trying to blend in, I walked to the front and sat in one of the animal chairs. The woman began to speak. Hello, my little ones, she said loudly. Hello, Mail Mommy, everybody responded. Has everybody been good boys and girls? She asked. The townspeople all replied, yes. Not everybody, she said. Judy Wilson and Fred Wilson were very bad little ones. They tried to install a toilet in their house. They are going to get a timeout. Then the sheriff came out, and I noticed his name tag said Daddy Sheriff. He walked up to Mr. and Mrs. Wilson and said, "You two will have to take a timeout." They followed him to a back room. What the hell is going on here? I thought. I need to get out of this town. After the meeting adjourned, I wasn't sure what to do, so I went back to the motel as quickly as I could to talk to Suzanne. We need to come up with a plan. What have we gotten ourselves into? I thought as I walked. As I passed by the houses, I noticed they all had childish furniture inside, play blocks and other toys. When I got back to the motel, I unlocked the door and found Suzanne taking a shower. I started shouting, "Suzanne, Suzanne, you won't believe what just happened." But she wasn't in the room. Then she walked in and said, "What?" I had to take a shower downstairs. They only have showers in the office. I asked her to sit down. I need to explain what I saw. Before I could do that, the sheriff walked in. He didn't knock. He just walked in as Suzanne and I were sitting at the table. Just before I was about to explain to Suzanne what happened, he sat down quietly and very calmly. "I told you before, this town is very different. I think you guys might need a timeout. Male mommy thinks you guys might need a nap too. You seem kind of cranky." Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Mommy Sarah's Story Time. If you enjoyed the stories, please support the channel by liking and subscribing. Remember, my channel is not monetized, and I write most of the content myself. On occasions when I don't, it's sourced through emails from trusted contacts. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If you're able to, consider making a donation to support our channel. Your support means a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to sharing more stories with you.